the second page in that little pamphlet I gave to you, if you want to turn to the second page right there, all right? Understanding the basic principles of body politic and grand juries. This is really like, I want to say freshman year, because we never actually had, freshman year. I think most of us, even though we graduated 12th grade, we actually only had an 8th grade education, because we should have had 4 years of law and the way, the world actually works. That's going to seriously affect us when we get out of school. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this is the simple way to put together, to form a government, and that should be something threatening. We're going to, when we govern ourselves, if there's any type of conflict in law, you know what I mean, you handle that in a court. It's really that simple. So okay, so these basic lessons can be operated within most counties, but each county might have a different government structure. See, so like what we're doing is we can do whatever we want in our county, whatever the assembly votes for. This is how we're going to run our assembly. This is how we're going to, handle certain cases. Let's see, forming a government anywhere in the nation, United States, whether it be California, Florida, or anywhere, has been anywhere between, has to start with the body politic. So what is it? It's the people of a politically organized nation or state, county, considered as a group. All right, the operative word here is group. This is a group that would normally operate under common law, as this country was originally founded under. Okay, so now if you don't know a lot about common law versus maritime law, contract law, all these different types of law, then this is definitely a first lesson into that for a lot of folks that will be coming in here. So let's see. Okay, so now this is a fictional way. It's just a play on how it might work out. It didn't actually happen, but similar situations were the way the law used to work. Okay, in the faith town of Laramie, Wyoming, in 1873, population 93. There was 10 men on the council, and but obviously different today. No women back then. Okay, that's what they're saying. Now, ladies are fed up with their menfolk about the disorderly manner in which the cowboys and other ruffians are causing mayhem and tearing up the town's property. They confront the 10-man council with what they think they should do. Suggestion made. It's just somebody just deciding what maybe, we're putting forth something. We can all vote on that. Appoint one of the men as town constable and pay him $5 a month. And I'm not going to go all the way through this, but talk about Chicken City. Not one member of the council volunteered, but they suggest that they approach a good citizen in the area and see if he's willing to accept the position as town constable. Then what do you do next? We're going to have, where are we going to keep this constable, and what happens if he does apprehend somebody for disorderly conduct? Keep in mind this is common law. Now this is built upon the precept that there's not actually something existing in place, okay? You have cops, you have deputies, you have all that stuff in place now. So in many ways, what we do here in the county assembly is going to be to, as much as we can, morph the present positions into the common law, de jure, constitutional box that they're supposed to be in. And anybody that just volunteers to go in, into that way of doing their job, which is their job is that they're servants. And it's almost scary for me to say, from what I've been through for the last year, 12 months, in my investigations into our local police department, and that is that they are not trained on the Constitution, and they don't know what your rights are. So that's a fact, and I'm not saying it's because they're like ignorant or something like that. It's because they haven't received the information, and it's not done on a systemic scale. That's our major problem. People don't read the Constitution. It's not taught to us. It's not drilled. It's not drilled into us in school. It should be like a marching song. You know what I'm saying? We should be marching our kids around the school, having them sing. You know what I'm saying? It's the Constitution. You know what I mean? Anyway, okay. Now, from the county assembly, okay, And you guys can read through this, a lot. I'm not going to stay in it verbatim, and when you just read a piece of paper. On the front of this, you can see one of the sites is the UnitedStatesDeJureGovernment.com. Okay, and they're doing a really good job of laying this out for the layman. There's 10 lessons. They're each like 3 or 4 PDF pages long, and it's extremely educational. It's like, bam, I got it. Okay, now I understand how that works, because they go through this example situation like that town in Laramie, Wyoming. Now, another document that you have there is, and this was like lesson 5. I printed out lesson 1 just for kind of like an introduction, and then lesson 5. So there's 10 on there that you can check out that I found. It's the site that best speeds the process along of getting people into just understanding what this is, Okay, where do we put the teeth? I think everyone understands about the silver bond after James questioned me about the procurement of such. Okay, so that was from a previous lesson. You have to check that out. After the meeting, I was approached by Judy and Nancy, 2 members of the same jury pool, and they asked me, what should they do about approaching officials with documents that have teeth? Okay? If you're serving somebody a document and it's something where you're stating that, look, we're going to take your house and sell it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't do this, and then you notice them, and you go 30 days go by, and you go through the proper lawful procedures, and they just want to ignore you. They're public servants. They can't ignore us. Okay? I can't point to the specific code, but the fact is they can't ignore the people. If you ask them a question, they have to answer it. Otherwise they need to step down from their job because they're servants. If you have a servant in your house, and you know what I'm saying, hopefully you're paying your servants, you know what I'm saying? You don't have like slaves, like we had back in the Civil War, you know what I'm saying? And your servant, basically, you're not gonna ask their permission to ask them a question. You're gonna ask them a question and they have to answer you, otherwise you're not gonna pay them anymore. You're paying them a wage to do a job, doing work at your home, if you have a servant. And it's lawful to have a servant as long as they're willing and you're paying them. Let's see, if they're willing to work for free, they can do that, I guess. I am reluctant to say much about this until most of you have your juries in place and have a good pool of folks representing the body politic. Remember, it is not at the federal level nor the state level that grand jury should be formed, but at the very basic level of body politic, the sovereign citizen. Now, something I want to say about this is that most of us that have been in the patriotic liberty movement have been focusing on the national level and representatives and senators and presidents, and they don't, and they're not supposed to affect our local community that much. And we don't really get involved in our local politics, and that's where it is. That's where if you do something here, you put in a little bit of elbow grease, you're actually going to find, you're going to see some results, right? Maybe a park goes up over here. You know what I'm saying? Because we decided to put in a park, and we got the necessary permits or whatever, whatever we needed to do, or we permitted ourselves to do it because we're the people. Okay, so now this goes through, okay, an important fundamental thing that we will need. We'll need a cooperative sheriff to be able to do what we want to do. We can show him what the law is, but if he doesn't want to follow the law, we can send him all kinds of paperwork all we want, But the fact of the matter is he has to follow the law. There are obviously, constitutional things put in place to compel people to follow the Constitution, and when they're not, you do this, step 2. It's the founders laid it out, it's all perfectly well laid out, and all we have to do is find out what step 2 is, and a lot of people, it's just been like, well, let's not tell them step 2, because if they don't know what step 2 is, they can't ever get rid of us, and we can just keep doing what we want. Okay, so let's go through to this flyer, County Grand Jury. You got the flyer for County Grand Jury there. All right, whereas we the people have sent countless good men and women into government by